the horoscope page was the most seen part of the whole webpage.
How old were you when you started paying attention to this?
Maybe 3, 4. That was my language. In my household, the moon is in Leo today, we're gonna cut our hairs, the moon is doing this. That was my language.
What was that turning point for you when you understood this is a business? Welcome to the Creator Method Podcast, which I'm really, really proud of. So today on the Creator Method Podcast, I'm joined by someone who's not only built a massive audience, but has done it through relentless creativity, iteration, and business acumen. Mia Pineda, better known as Mia Astral, is an astrologer, author, speaker, and digital entrepreneur with 3.2 million followers on Instagram, 386,000 subscribers on YouTube, and 274,000 followers on TikTok. But what really sets Mia apart is her body of work. Over 20,000 posts on Instagram alone, and more than 2,000 videos on YouTube, and probably a whole bunch of other content that I didn't readily find. And she's spent years showing up, evolving, and building a powerful brand rooted in astrology, emotional growth, and empowerment. Originally from Venezuela, and now based in Miami, Mia's work has been featured in, and I'm gonna, because I don't speak Spanish, in People on Espanol, Glamour Mexico, Univision, and more. She's built a business that blends spiritual insight with practical tools, and her content has impacted millions, has and continues to impact millions across the world. Mia, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me, Gary.
Of course.
We've been working together here and there, like ever since we met each other.
Yes.
We've been creating.
We have been.
We have been creating.
Mia, I want to dive into your story. I want to understand, like, what did your life look like before Mia Astral? What did your life look like? I know you're from Venezuela, obviously. Tell me kind of what led up to you deciding I'm going to get into content creation.
I was delusional. You have to be a little delulu to do all of these things. I was very young. To be very concrete, honestly, I love astrology my whole life. I was raised by my grandparents because my mom had me very, very young. And when I was born, my grandmother was 38. So don't imagine
Sorry, say it again?
My grandmother was 38 when I was born.
I have to ask, how old was your mom? If it's not too personal.
My mom is 14 years older than me. She had me
when she was 14. Okay.
Very, very young.
Okay.
So my grandmother was obsessed with Walter Mercado, who in those times, like in the 90s, was this guy with a cape talking about astrology in like Telemundo or Univision. And he had this cult following because he was all into good vibes. He would tell you like what's going on for your sign today, but he always had this like love and good vibes.
How old were you when you started like kind of paying attention to this?
Maybe 3, 4. Like very
okay, so you've been
on.
So the nature of your content is obviously super authentic to you. Like this is native to you. Like you've been.
That was my language. In my household, the way my grandmother used to talk to us, because it was me, 2 sisters, like my mom's sisters, because once my mom had me, she had to come to United States to finish high school.
Yeah.
So I was raised with my aunts, like they were my sisters.
Yeah.
All girls household, and my grandmother was like, the moon is in Leo today, we're gonna cut our hairs, the moon is doing this. Like that was my language, but I catch very early on in school that was not the language in every household, and I was always the outcast because people saw my grandmother as a witch. Because in my hometown, they're very like conservative and religious.
Yeah.
So when I used to come with these ideas, they were like, no, witch, no. But for me, it was not only interesting. When I grew up a little bit more, I was around maybe 12 or 13, I didn't understand why I was not like the other girls. And for one part, I was like, well, maybe I'm not like the other girls because, they have this stigma on my mom and they always talk about it. But also, I don't like pink and I don't like everything they like. I don't like the Timberlands and why? Like, what happened to me? And I found this book, my grandmother's book, Linda Goodman's Sun Signs and this and that. So I started getting more into it.
This is as a teenager.
Yeah, and then I went deeper and deeper, and I read about Venus in Scorpio. Venus in your chart rules your style, your desires, what you like, what you don't like. So it's not a superficial planet, but whatever caught your attention has to do with your Venus sign.
Okay.
And when I read about it, I felt myself seen. I was like, okay, Venus in Scorpio likes black and likes to be outside and likes psychology. And I'm like, okay, I feel seen. I'm not this weirdo. I just need to find people that are more like me. And at that moment, I give myself, without knowing, I give myself permission to find those people. The same way I gave myself permission to go into Creator Method and say, all right, I need people who wants to create content. So very early on, I knew there is community. You have to look for it. Okay. You have to take yourself to the best environment for you to flourish. So I saw myself seen in astrology, and then it was like my refugee, you know?
But this was before social media, so you had no idea yet.
I had no idea.
So did you know, though, at an early age that your work, like your career, would eventually evolve into something to do with this kind of spiritual work?
No, not at all, because...
So it was just an interest. It was just more like of a hobby or like a philosophy, a way of life?
It was a way of life. I've always been a nerd, so I started buying books, everything about psychology and astrology.
So what was your logic on like kind of exposing yourself both to the scientific side of it and the pseudoscience, like the psychology and the astrology?
There is no logic behind it because I was very young. I just go to what I feel attracted to.
You were just interested in it.
And there is this field of astrology that is like the psychology part of every sun sign and everything. And what astrology is the study of cycles in time and things and repetitions. So it's a pseudoscience. But if anyone here wants to read the book Cosmos and Psyche, Richard Tarnas, he's the author. What he did a 300-year study of work of certain transits and what happens every time these transits repeat. And we have the same manifestations. So anyways, I started getting into these two subjects, and then it became fun for me to make my best friend's chart, or this guy's chart, or you like this guy, so what's his sun sign? Where's his Venus sign? It was like fun.
Okay.
But I went to law school, and I graduated.
Whoa, you went to law school?
And I loved it.
That I didn't know.
I went to law school, I graduated. I was very into criminology, and CSI stuff. But then I worked for 2 years, but I worked as a labor lawyer, for workers. And at that moment, Venezuela was going very bad politically. And my grandfather, all my family was here in Miami already. Because they didn't want to be in Venezuela. It was very unstable. I was very stubborn because I was like, no, my boyfriend is here and I'm a lawyer. I don't want to study again. And he's like, let's make a deal. Just go for 6 months to Miami. Live with your mom for once.
This was your grandfather telling you this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live with your mom for once. I never lived with my mom. And do a course in in the University of Miami as a paralegal just to see what happens. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. And my plan was to come for 6 to 9 months to do this thing in the University of Miami. And in those 9 months, Venezuela went very, very bad.
So then there was no going back.
And he's like, yeah, you're not coming back.
And you agreed. Well,
yeah,
clearly you're here.
I had no other choice.
Right.
And then I got into a relationship very early, as soon as I came here. So then I didn't want to go because my new boyfriend was here. So I stayed happily.
So this was 2008, because you mentioned that you came in.
But taking the content creation, when I left Venezuela, I used to have this blog in Blogspot.
Okay.
You remember this domain,
yes,
Blogspot?
Of course. Yeah.
And it was called Casa Ocho, 8th house. The 8th house in astrology is the house of psychology.
Okay.
Like when you get deeper into things.
Okay.
And I used to write, for example, today is the full moon in Aquarius, and I'm feeling this, and that. So I already had that interest in sharing, but it was not open to the public. You could only be invited to my blog because it was like my diary. And I used to post pictures.
Sorry, was that a business or was that a hobby?
Was it a hobby? You know how people use Facebook to post pictures and albums?
You were doing it in Blogspot?
Yes, because Facebook was public. I was always very private. I was like, only my friends can see what happened, and I'm going to upload and upload that.
That's very different now.
Yes and no. We'll get into that. But then Tumblr came.
Okay.
And then I went into Tumblr.
You're talking about early 2000s.
Yeah.
You're talking about kind of the dawn of social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love Tumblr because you could repost things. Like you could take something and repost the image. And when I was here, I had this friend, and she used to work in a marketing agency in Maracaibo, in Venezuela. And she's like, have you ever heard of a personal brand? And I'm like, what's that?
What year was this?
2009.
Okay.
9-10. And she's like, there's this thing. It's a personal brand. Because now people are becoming brands. what about you open your Blogspot and your Tumblr for the public, not private? And I see that you're using Twitter because I got into Twitter right away. I used to love Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you this formula. You just post like a headline and you put the link of your post. And I'm like, that's interesting, but I have to open it. Then I can't say what I'm doing.
Right.
So anyways, I do it. And she's like, wait, but there's something else. You need a name. It has to be short, one word preferably, catchy, and your Tumblr has to change. We need to put like this.
Sorry, and this person, this is a marketing, an executive or somebody?
No, this is a girl who's younger than me. It's like, she was like 3 years younger than me, but she's still very savvy, very tech-oriented. And she was working with personal brands in Venezuela. I know some people have the idea of Venezuela is like this remote place, but if you know Venezuelans, personal brands of Venezuelans, we're always very like, okay, let's go, let's do it.
Yeah.
That's like our spirit. And she's like, okay, let's think about names. Let's change the header of your Tumblr. And I started doing it. Like word by word, how she told me to do it. And then I got with Mia Astral. And it was like, okay, Mia, because...
Astral means astrology?
Yeah, like for
in
astrology.
Spanish.
Because Mia, they used to call me Mia and other nicknames. And I was like, Mia Astral. And also this word game is like my astral, like mine, you know?
Yes.
So nothing, I started posting on Twitter. And I put the link, and I put the link, and I put the link, and...
The link back to a Blogspot.
Blogspot. And at that moment, I was working in a place called Miami Stone District.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
Like selling, marble, ceramic, countertops, quartz, etc.
As an employee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on my free time between one client and another, I'm just posting.
Yeah.
Like I'm posting. And the first important person that reacted to my posting was this editor of a newspaper in Venezuela. And he's like, do you want to do the horoscope for my newspaper?
Oh, wow.
And this is the thing. A lot of people think that being an astrologer is, I know what's happening today and that's it. Developing the art of creating a horoscope every week, following the story of 12 signs, because it's a story.
Sure.
That was the first time that I was like, okay, I need to create a system. I need a system. And I did that with him for 2 years. At the same time, this...
Sorry, it still wasn't a business though. This was still a hobby, or were you planning...
I was not charging for...
But were you planning on this becoming your career, or this was still something you were doing for fun?
For fun, pure fun.
Okay.
And then this actress, Argentinian actress, Calu Rivero, she found me on Twitter and she started retweeting a lot of the things that I was posting. And this was a girl with like 18 million followers. Like she was huge. She was like the lead actress on teenage soap opera, that everybody was watching. And that thing exploded. I got a lot of followers and I didn't know what to do with it. I was always being super private in my things.
Yeah.
And I didn't know like, I didn't want to show my face. At this point, nobody has seen my face.
Okay.
Nobody has seen my face. Like my picture is something weird, something like that. And then this friend tells me, you have to post a picture where you're shown. And a lot of people were impressed because they didn't know it was like this young girl. Because they say that I used to write like I was an old woman.
Sure, yeah. Wisdom.
And I was also very much into Kabbalah ever since I was in Venezuela. And when I came to Miami, there was a Kabbalah center. So I used to go every weekend to do Shabbat and also Rosh Chodesh, que is the beginning of the month. And I used to talk in this way that it was very Kabbalah and astrology, so people thought I was like a very old lady. So anyways, then...
You were in your 20s.
Yeah, I was like 24, 25.
Okay.
Then this very famous anchor in Venezuela, Erika de la Vega, she also contacted me. She was also creating her personal brand, her webpage, and she's like, can you do the horoscopes for me? And then I'm doing horoscopes for everyone for free, just to like, for something going. But at that moment, I still didn't thought that was going to be something for me.
It was still a hobby for you.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I just want to I want to interject on this because so many people now are doing it very differently. Like you had a very innocent approach to it where you just organically and kind of, authentic to you, you were just genuinely, you were and continue to be genuinely interested in the subject matter. So you were putting out content, you had a full-time job. I mean, everybody who's going into social media now, they're thinking about monetization before they even have a single follower, before they've put out any content. They're already thinking about monetization. So the world has really changed a lot. it was like it was a much more innocent time, I think, in the world of social media, in a very good way. I mean,
It was.
yeah.
I remember,
You were a hobbyist. You were a hobbyist.
I remember watching Chiara Ferragni, one of the first fashion bloggers.
we know Chiara,
and she was also like starting, and she was like just posting like.
Well, she had her blonde salad.
Yeah, exactly. But if you see all of us that started when each platform came out,
Yeah.
we were genuinely doing it for fun. Also, there's something very important that is not only what we do, is who we are. And I do have this inside of me that I believe to see. I'm not waiting, seeing to believe in it, So
Explain, what does that mean?
it's the difference in your mindset. A lot of people right now want to see something to believe it. Like, show me, or I need something to prove. When you and I spoke in the panel for collaborations, a lot of the questions were, when am I gonna see results?
Yeah.
When am I gonna see the change? And I told one of the girls, growth is not always like monetary growth,
Absolutely.
Like, growth can come in different shapes and forms. And a lot of the things you do, when you do it with heart, obviously smart, but with heart, first the growth is gonna come inside of you. And then you're gonna see how many other doors open.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, even in projects that we invest in within our business, there's no money involved. Like, we'll put, we invest into projects that take a year, 2 years. We're actually spending money to invest in it, but we understand that it grows, let's say, Valeria's personal brand overall. And so that's really important. Do you know who understands? I think there's two kinds of people or groups of people who understand that not everything has immediate monetary rewards, but they still have to do it because they look at the long game. And that's big corporations, like big companies. So companies who do branding campaigns, who they're not even measuring ROI in terms of immediate revenue, but they're doing long-term branding campaigns because they understand the long-term value of continuing to tell their brand story, even though they're not seeing in that exact moment. Are people who understand this very well, quite frankly, are artists of all kind, regardless. Artists like you, musicians, who early on, they're putting out music without any financial reward because they have the intuition and the understanding that my personal brand will evolve and opportunities will come as I develop my personal brand. And so, yeah, to your point, I think in today's, what's going on today with new creators entering into the scene, they're very business-minded, which is good, but they're not as kind of artistically minded to understand that they do have to develop this, and it's not going to be an immediate financial reward.
I do believe in business mind. I do believe that
Both are important.
That your work has a worth,
Absolutely.
But I come from I feel like I'm very my mindset is very formed in Kabbalah, and you gotta have big picture.
I did the first stage of Kabbalah.
Big picture mindset.
Yeah.
There's this saying that said, "Don't work hard, work smart."
Sure.
But I think you only start working smart when you've been working very, very hard.
You're absolutely right.
You need to go through some things, and it'll come. But if you have this mindset of immediate gratification in any area of life, you're living day by day. It's called linear consciousness instead of circular consciousness. That is this is moving and it's moving and it's not showing yet. I do believe in that manifestation starts in the shadow where no one can see anything.
Wow.
That's why I'm also everything I start, I'm very quiet, and I really protect what's very important to me because I know that the results will speak for themselves. A lot of people are doing many things now, and if there's any new creators watching us right now, they see these people on social media saying, today I'm doing this and tomorrow I'm doing that. They're recording the whole process, documenting the whole process. Yeah. And that's nice, and that helps you, showing the behind the scenes. But there are some things that is better for you to guard it, because then you're present instead of performing. Anything you're showing, you're performing all the time. When I'm doing something very, very new, when I started with Creator Method, I didn't go the first day. I signed in, and look, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. Why? Because I'm knowing myself in a new situation. Mm-hmm. Now that I feel, and I was talking to my best friend about it. I asked her, have you seen changes in our content in these 7 months? And she's like, yeah.
I'm going to get to that.
It has changed a lot.
I want to dive into that, but I want to get back. I want to get back to your origin story. But thank you for bringing that up, because that's definitely on my list to talk about, because I want to know What was the turning point when you realized this was actually a career in a business? That's what I'd like
I'm going to tell you.
Because that's an important story, right? Because a lot of people, again, everyone's going into this right away business-minded. You went into it very innocently, very young, as a hobbyist. At what point did that switch turn to you and like, I don't have to work at the store anymore, or my path is no longer working at the store selling it was like, that's not my path. My path is doing what I love and to get skill. When did you understand that this is a business? Did you experience like meaningful monetization because I know for us, it proved out when we received the wire for $10,000, and I kind of tell that story often, but what was it for you? What was that turning point for you when you understood this is a business?
I was working for, let's say 4 or 5 publications for free. And then I found out
you were essentially a columnist.
Yeah. And then I found out that in one of those web pages, the horoscope page was the most seen part of the whole web page. And they were selling ads. And this friend of mine...
They were selling ads against your content that you were providing for free.
Yes. And then my friend told me, fuck that. Let's do a membership. And I'm like, what? Because also, I grew up...
Who are these friends? I want to know, because I think people need friends
Her
like
name
this.
is Maria Elizabeth Hernandez. She lives here in Miami now.
No, but someone, you sorry to interrupt you, but you often mention that someone told you this. Like, so you're very open to...
I am. You have to be open. You don't know everything. But also, I do believe that the universe, God, however you want to see it, Jupiter, has put in my way very good people. And she's like, fuck that. We're not going to allow that. And at the same time, this was blowing up and blowing up. And she said, we're going to create a membership. And I'm like, who's going to pay for content? I grew up in a household where I didn't have to move a finger. I was like very good taken care of. So I never had that mindset of I have to work and I have to hustle and I have to be like, when you're suspecting of people and like looking for the bad things. I used to believe in everyone, like with good heart. And we created the membership. Yeah. And I started charging, like I stopped doing horoscopes for, if you wanted my horoscopes, you would have to come to me. Okay. And like 3 months later, Stefano, who was my boss, he fired me. He was from the store? From Miami Stone District. He was like, I'm doing this for you. Your place is not here. Your thing is astrology. I'm going to let you go with 2 months paid, but believe me, this is going to be good for you. And I cried and I cried and I cried.
Mia, sorry
to interrupt you. I jumped.
I feel like you've got angels around you. Yeah. Like you've got these people who kind of helped you along your path. Like it's interesting to me because a lot of people, when they're telling, like successful people such as yourself, when they tell their origin story, they're really focused on the choices that they made. But you're very open about crediting people along the way, like even this gentleman who fired you from your job. And
I love it. No, good for you. I love him.
It's amazing. Okay, so that's the point that you realized. So how did you switch to Instagram? At some point you went on to other platforms. You got off of Twitter and Tumblr, and then you went into other platforms. So what was that turning point?
So when I created the membership, I had to get into like a real web page, with a host and everything. I went into Instagram late. Mm-hmm. When Instagram came out, I think it was 2012. I got into it like in around 2013 because Instagram was all about pictures. And I had this thing that I didn't want to show myself. Like you could see my picture in Tumblr and a little tiny picture on Twitter because in those times you couldn't like just click and see the huge picture. And I was like, what am I going to post? Like, how do I put pictures of, like, how do you explain astrology in pictures, It's not that easy. In that moment, we didn't have green screen to talk over a chart. And I was like, all right, I'm going to post things and say, like, this transit. For example, I go to a game and, like, this is very Mars in Sagittarius. I was just trying to relate circumstances to transits. And that's what I do. Like, I see things and I assign, like, okay, this goes with this transit, Because I feel like my job, what happens? I wanted to create something that I never had. I always loved astrology, and I could never find a good blog where somebody could explain it in the most simple way. It was always so complicated. And they were always talking about the aspects, conjunctions, squares. And I was like, just tell me what I have to do. Like, simple. So I got to be that person. I got to be the girl who's your friend and would tell you, what, this weekend it's going to be hard. Venus is squares to Mars, so you're going to fight with your boyfriend, so let's do this and that.
So I have a question for you. Yeah. The readings that you made, right, that you would make, you were communicating it through, I guess, the written word.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the beginning, only written word.
Right. but you're obviously very well spoken now. You've been doing this for a long time. You're very good on camera. You're very comfortable on camera. Were you that way? Like, how did that happen? Were you always like this? You were all,
Yes.
okay, so you're naturally like this. So that was a natural transition from the written word, because with the written word, you have time to prepare, you have time to edit, to make it sound a certain way, to really perfect it.
Okay,
Whereas
yeah.
when you're talking, even on, like right now, this is kind of, there's a little bit of editing here, but not really, right? But when you're recording your videos, even though there's a little bit of editing there, you're still talking. You still have to develop this skill, this communication skill.
Yeah.
Was that a big transition going from the written word? Because a lot of people have that fear where they're afraid of being on camera. How did you never had that
No.
issue?
I was doing audio for a long time before doing camera.
So first you were doing written, then you were doing audio.
Yeah, and when you hear yourself for the first time, you're like, I hate this voice.
Sure.
But you get over it.
Right.
Because I had to listen to myself to edit the audio.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I had to get very comfortable with that. And what happened to me is that when I started doing videos, and people can see them in YouTube, like if they go 2011, 2012, 2013, they're gonna see videos of me. I used to believe that I had to get dressed as like a very serious person.
Yeah.
Because nobody took
Nobody would take you
astrology
seriously? Yeah.
seriously.
Oh, nobody would take the subject matter seriously.
Yeah, but it's true. Like people right now, astrology is everywhere right now.
Sure.
Even huge brands.
Yeah, it's really evolved.
Yeah, like huge brands, Tiffany, Founder, like, they're all using astrology somehow. But when I started, it was just the back page of a magazine, you know? So I used to like wear these like updos and very like cover my tattoos and all of that because I wanted to be taken seriously, you know? And you know when all of that changed? Was very recently. When I met Diego, my husband, the thing with Diego was, it was the first time that I met someone who just took me as it is, and he liked the same things that I like, and he enhanced my own style. Not like Kanye and Kim, not like that. He's not my creative director, but in my private life, I used to dress like I am dressed today. Baggy things, all black. But when I was in camera, I was like a mi Astral, so I have to be like
You were in character.
in character. And all of that changed in 2022. I stopped doing YouTube from like 2016.
But you're doing it now again.
I started in 2022 when I got very comfortable with who I really am. And I could talk about whatever I really wanted to talk about.
That's such a valuable thing that you just said.
For me,
is
yes.
No, but for you and for
Yeah,
everyone,
but-
I find that a lot of people like in Creator Method, and a lot of the conversations that I have with creators is they're departing from who they are, and they have a hard time actually, you know, being. The term gets thrown around a lot. They're being authentic, but that's really the key. And like you're really talking about that transition when you moved from who you thought you should be
Yeah.
and who you projected in the character that you were essentially playing, which was a version of yourself, but not a real version of yourself, to who you are and then who you actually are. And I think if I understand you correctly, you're actually seeing more success by stepping into that authenticity.
Just feeling good is a success.
Right.
You know why? Because it's like, to create content, I think if you're creating content, you have to create with things that are really into your life.
Of course.
For example, if I create content about workouts, I don't have to go somewhere and create this idea. It's already happening in my
course.
life.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna, yesterday it was content day, video content day, so I changed like 8 times, but it's easy because I'm just dressed like me. You know what I mean? It's like everything is easy and it
Yeah.
flows, so
Of
I don't
course.
feel it like a burden. I feel like, oh no, today is the funniest day of the
Yeah.
whole week because I'm just like having fun.
Yeah.
And I do think that's valuable because when you're not yourself, you're gonna burn out. You're gonna burn
you have
out
to,
of
I agree. Valeria and I talked about it often. Like in the beginning, it's like she said, I'm not an actor. Like I just have to be who I am.
Yeah.
And that's the way, that's the way you make it sustainable. In terms of where you're at right now, I mean, we talked about some of your, your numbers and your audience size, and I know your reach is in the tens of millions or hundreds of millions of people a month. What is your? I mean, if you're able to comment on it, like that progression and kind of what your team looks like now. What does that kind of look like?
We used to have a bigger team. We used to
Okay.
have like 40-something people.
Wow.
No, but you know what? I used to have like a mini agency.
Sure.
Because my webpage used to be like a magazine. I used to post classes every day, even 2 classes per day. And I used to do
This is for members, for the members.
Yeah, fashion content, Kabbalah content, coaching content. And this is the thing, around around 2021, 2022, of course, 2020 was hard on everyone. And I'm not going to say it was hard on my business because people were actually looking for something.
For COVID, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my content was that type of content that people wanted to, have something to hold on to.
Yeah. They needed comforting.
Yes. But
Yeah.
in 2021, and also my best friend, she came into the team in 2017. She's more of a corporate mindset. And she's like, this is a mess. We have to do like systems. We have to create systems. And then I understood that my job is not only to create content, either for the membership or for social media. Mm-hmm. I have to get into like leading the team. I have to understand. I have to like have these meetings, like, and be these people's person and understand the situations, because a lot of the things we do, they don't understand astrology. They do the marketing, they have the ideas, but I have to guide them because we have high selling seasons that are determined by eclipses or the transits, it's a different thing. So I said, damn, this is adulting. So I really can't just create content all day long. My mornings are for meetings and, consulting, meetings, where's the money going, what are we doing, everything. And that's when I really think I got a turning point. And then I got very into the thing of, okay, who's doing what do we really need? And also another change happened. I was not gonna grow into having a mini agency. I used to have a podcast with Spotify.
Yeah.
And it lasted 3 years. When we were about to end, they told me, no, we're looking people that are doing podcasts in video. And I'm like, in video? Like in audio, perfect. I record
like this one.
Yeah, I record on my pajama every day. And they're like, no, everything is moving to video. And I'm like, no, this is not happening.
What year was this?
2022.
Okay.
And it hit on me in 2023. Yeah. Everything is going to video. And I'm telling them, like, we have a mini agency. The whole system has to change. I have to pay editors. We didn't have editors. I need to pay the team who's going to record the long format videos.
Of course.
So the group changed into people that were correcting the post and like the little things, to people that can create content with me. Most of my classes are video now too. Yeah. So the team changed. Still big, but it changed.
But that's a natural course of business. That's not just isolated to content creation. In general, businesses change, especially.
And it will change again.
And it'll change again.
For sure, it'll change again. But when I proposed this to my team, because I'm going to say another thing that I think is valuable for creators.
Please.
I made this decision of changing the team to be like a magazine, into be like a video situation format for everything. Yeah. And I also said, I don't want to create this anymore, and this and this and that. My Instagram account has been on since 2013, I think. And I used to have this post that would come every Sunday, that it was like a little horoscope for every Sunday. And I'm like, girls, I'm tired of doing this. Like, I don't feel like you can create the same content or format for more than 10 years. My Astral just turned 17 on May.
Wow.
And I was checking like old pictures, and I'm like, this is a picture from 2014. I was doing this since 2014. So I'm changing a lot of things. Yeah. And then I got into Creator Method, and I'm doing other things. 2 weeks ago, I was 3.3 million followers. Every Sunday, when the post they expect doesn't come out, a lot of people unfollow me.
Really?
Yeah, but that's great. You know why? Because the content is changing.
Yeah.
And
well, you're changing. You're evolving as a human being.
Yeah,
so, of course,
exactly.
the content is going to change.
So if ever comes the time when you feel like a lot of people stop following you, you're like, okay, there's a new me, and other people will come. But don't be afraid of changing. Yeah. Like, don't force yourself into a format. Don't act from fear. Act from what you think it's fair for you, and it's not fair to force you to create the same thing for a million years. It doesn't work out that way.
On that point, so that's a really good point. And evolution is super important. And I'll take a little bit of credit, because about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I said to Valeria, you need a full length, like you need a podcast, like a full sit down, long form conversational podcast. And it may not have been that relevant 3 years ago, because Valeria was she was 31, 32. But the issue there is that I knew that she was going to eventually lose interest in only doing short form. Yeah. Plus, I knew she was talented to do the long form. And I said to her, Valeria, you need to evolve. And having long form conversations is the platform that you may not think it's relevant today, but it will be relevant for 40-year-old Valeria and 45 and 50-year-old Valeria when you're just having more in-depth conversations. But we need to start it now for it to have scale when you're going to be in your 40s and 50s. So obviously she agreed, and we're developing the podcast. But to your point, yeah, that evolution is, and I think you need to be introspective. Like, you need to look at yourself as to who you are today, and how you think you're going to evolve, and what your interests are going to be. Even with our kids, like as our kids get older, our interests change because we're no longer parents of babies now. We're parents
or toddlers,
of, almost teenagers. Our eldest is almost 13 years old. You joined Creator Method 7 months ago. How did you find it, and what drew you to it?
I'm a very introspective person, and I was like already feeling that this change needed to happen.
Yeah.
Not only the personnel in the group, in Mi Astral, I was also feeling like I love doing what I do. And I will always love talking about astrology and having the membership and attending people and guiding them. But I also feel like there's a space for my journey, for being an entrepreneur, and show it a little bit more, little by little. If you see my feed, I'm always giving content. But it's not making it about me, but I also feel like I can guide people on, I'm an entrepreneur, or I want to be a spiritual entrepreneur. Where do I start? What do I do? So I was like, this needs to change. I feel like I want to talk about other things. In my immediate environment, nobody's interested in creating content. And it makes sense. I'm a private...
You mean you're like just your social circle?
Exactly.
Right.
And it makes sense because you attract who you are. And even though I post every day, like you don't see anything from my wedding. You don't see anything like from my private life.
Yeah.
All the people that are very close to me, they're the same. They're very private, they're very into their things, or they rarely have social media. And I'm not going to force anyone to create content. But you do need content, and you need B-roll, and you need like all these situations to show different sides of yourself. So there's this girl in DVC, Caro Suki.
Yeah, she's a member.
And I was like, okay, I can just ask her, like, how is it? Because I used to see like posts, because I follow Valeria, and so some posts, and I'm like, this is interesting, but I don't really know what it is.
Sure.
And Caro, being the greatest Capricorn she is, she's like, girl, I got you. Let me get home, and I'm gonna call you through FaceTime, and I'm gonna get you into the membership just so you see how it works. She calls me, she goes into the membership, she shows me like the different parts, the community, and I'm like, Caro, but how do you feel? And she told me, I feel amazing because they do a lot of events, and I've met a lot of people. And one of my goals for this year was to be surrounded by more female entrepreneurs. Because when you talk to them, even though we're not on the same exact journey, there's an understanding. And I believe that you need to feel seen, and you need to talk to someone like who's done something that you want to do, to break the glass ceiling. Like, no, you can do it. Like, have those mirror neurons, and let's do it. Immediately, I signed up. Well, I had the meeting with Leia.
Right.
Our
head of admissions, yeah.
And that day I signed up. That night I text Caro and I'm like, I'm in. Let's do something. Let's create right now. So I started taking the lessons. A lot of the lessons were like very basic for me.
Sure.
I understand.
Sure.
But for me, the most valuable thing is every time that I go to an event, I meet amazing people.
Yeah.
And not only that, there's people that are not in Creative Method, but I've met through Caro or through something else and something.
Of course.
But also, you know what? The attitude change. Like, sometimes you think, it's like when somebody asks you, what are you doing to your face? It's glowing. And you're like, well, I'm drinking bone broth, I'm taking collagen. You don't know what it is because you're doing so many things because you have this goal. At the same time, this band from Venezuela, Rawayana, they asked me to do a collaboration in their songs. So something clicked inside of me that the doors open, and they released this album. I mean, 3 of their songs. I did a collaboration with Caro. Like, many things have happened. Also with a band of guys that's called Escuela de Nada. They're doing podcasts. But we did a collaboration too. And it's like, no. It was not one thing. The minute I said, I'm going to open myself to this, things, I swear, we started receiving these proposals.
Amazing. You did something very impressive where you've created so much scale, and you've built such an audience and a personal brand. You did it in a silo. And when I say in a silo, meaning you did it by yourself without being surrounded by other people in this industry.
But I don't have to do it alone anymore.
You don't have to do it alone anymore. And that's the thing is, I remember when Valeria was starting out, she had me.
Yeah.
We were in a Canadian city in Toronto. We were in a suburb of Toronto. It's not exactly the most creative place in the world. Like every house, we're in a subdivision where every house looks exactly the same. It was a nice subdivision, but there was no creativity there. And Valeria was going through it, and I would be there to help her. So we had our community of two. Even though I wasn't the creator, but I was there for her, and we, dedicated all of our energy and time into it. And as time went by, she started, slowly meeting other creators as she started getting scale, like local creators. And then ultimately we moved to Miami because, there were business reasons, meaning we need to be in America to really take advantage of the whole situation. But we also wanted access to other creators. Like there's no Mias in Toronto.
Yeah, and there's no like meeting point. You guys created
Right.
a meeting point.
Right. And so to me, it's like, for let's say professional salespeople or accountants or even car salespeople, they have their networks, but they have these professional associations that they get together and they learn from each other. They network with each other. They don't see each other as competitors. They're all collaborative. And so we knew that needed to happen in this industry, which we didn't really see it. And so that's kind of like the premise. Is there anything that surprises you about the community? Like, is there anything that you're seeing that you were kind of shocked by when you kind of engage either at the events or through Slack? Anything kind of out of the ordinary?
No, nothing like really surprises me. Well, yes, that they're very open.
Yeah,
Like,
well, for sure.
That surprised me because a lot of people, I don't know, some people
They're guarded. They think that you're a
not
competitor.
only they're guarded, it happens, I don't know if it happens with guys, but with girls it happens a lot. That is like,
I'm glad you said it. I didn't want to say it.
like maybe a caddy competition,
Sure, I get it.
or you compare yourself. But the thing is that I don't know anyone that's doing what I'm doing,
Of course.
exactly what I'm doing. And I also don't get into this idea of competing because you're you. Like, you're the only person who can create what you want to create the
Sure.
way you want to create it. I've only encountered great women, honestly.
Amazing.
Like from our last event in New York, I started following a lot of them, and they follow me, and like we're cheering each other up all the time. I send them videos that are, for example, you want to create this? Oh, look at this trend. I found this. I love to engage with people.
Everybody
I love
loved
to
you.
talk.
That you and I did the first panel that day. We had 3 different.
We broke the ice.
We did break the ice. Yeah, we did. I want to say we did really well. You did really well, and it was a real pleasure to be on stage with you. I want to kind of go into. I want to right now talk about strategy, and I want to talk about your future, the future of your personal brand. What's your goal right now? Like you're at scale. You have an organization of people who work for you. What's the next step for you? I mean, you're still very young. You're still at the beginning of your career. You've got
this
decades
is another
left.
stage. A lot of people start locally and then they grow internationally. I did it backwards.
Yeah.
Like I've been on tour like 2 or 3 times, but in Latin America.
Right.
I want to have a presence here in Miami, and I'm going to tell you why.
Tell me.
Convenience.
So I agree with you, and that's what I'm trying to do as well.
Because every time that I'm going to have an event, I have to travel for 9 hours. It's not sustainable.
Fair.
It's not sustainable. And I want to grow here.
Yeah.
And I want to grow content in English.
I agree.
I know I don't speak perfectly, but I'm still trying, and I will keep trying. And you know what's beautiful?
What?
That we're in this time and age where I can have my videos in any language because of AI.
When you say you don't speak perfectly, I have to make a comment on that. The way that you speak, you have an advantage over me in terms of the way you speak English.
Why?
Because, and it was something that I told Valeria, because Valeria was self-conscious about her accent, because English isn't her first language, it's her third. And so she was self-conscious about it. And I told her back then, Valeria, trust me, keep going, keep doing what you're doing, because it makes you endearing. Because so many people in the world, they're forced to speak a language because they moved to a country where it's not their first language. It's so relatable. And Valeria would at some point try to really hard to study English and fix her vocabulary.
Fix the accent?
The accent and the vocabulary. But then what she found was when she would make a mistake and she didn't know she made a mistake.
It was cute.
And she published it, the comments weren't making fun of her. They were laughing with her, and it created this, people just fell in love with her as a result. Your vocabulary is far superior than Valeria's was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, it's only an advantage. So
I love mistakes. You know why?
They're
because
great.
That's how you know it's human. When it's like
Of course.
when I have a typo in my copy, it's like, it was me, because it was me. I was driving and posting at the same time, but it was me. It was not
Yeah.
ChatGPT. I love mistakes because that's how you know
Absolutely.
that we're still there.
So you want to, for you, your goal right now is to continue to get scale.
You know, I don't think in terms of more followers. I'm gonna tell you why. Because not all followers are on top of your content. Like, people think a lot in terms of followers.
Yeah.
Me being an astrologer, in like what I see is that we're moving away from the follower
I
era
agree.
and more into engage. Like, I don't know, I don't follow you, but I see your content all the time, like TikTok.
So I believe it's going to be more about energy, like the energy. So
Yeah.
before social media came along, there were traditional celebrities, right? There was the Oprahs of the world and the Tom Cruises of the world. Before social media existed, there was not a number associated with them. There wasn't a number on top of their head that said, this is the value of this person.
Exactly.
And so then we shifted into this way of measuring celebrity, of measuring personal brand. And I believe now we're going to start going away from it. Now, not so much away from it, but there's going to be less of an emphasis, and it's going to be more of a blend between the qualitative idea of a celebrity and a personal brand, and the quantitative of defining it, with a number. So I'm always talking with Valeria about continuing to develop the qualitative aspect of her personal brand. Not so much the follower count is less important to us, and it's more about the vibe.
Not only that, you know what? Even if Valeria, because our content is not really ours. You put it on a platform and you don't own it. In the sense,
you own the content. You own the content. You don't own the distribution.
Yes, but let's say something happens to her account or to my account.
Yeah.
Still, if something happens to my account, they know, like, people know me because I've been doing this for almost 18
because
years
you have a personal brand,
in Latin America. So followers can come and go, and I refuse myself to live my life just trying to be liked, to have followers. Some people are gonna like it, some people don't.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And also, like, once me Astral turned 15, I said to myself, there's nothing to prove anymore. I can be silly, I can dress however I like. Like, I've been doing this. It's not a joke. I've been studying. I've been, like, certifying myself. I keep studying and adding more things to my brand.
Yeah.
Like, so if you want to be here, great. And if you don't want to be here, and you know what happens? Some people, they leave, and then, like, I stopped following you for 2 years, but I'm back. And I'm like, yeah, girl, okay, I'm still here. It's okay. So it's not so much about followers.
No, I agree with you. Are you going to start creating in English? Because I'm waiting for it.
Yes, I'm starting to create in English now. Like, a lot of my classes are gonna be like immediately, like, because of AI. You can hear them in any language, but also, you know what's happening?
But natively, are you going to start creating actual original content in English, the way you are now?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what's also interesting? 2 years ago, I would have been scared of posting a video on English on my feed because I used to get so much hate when I post, like, quotes in English. Now people are quoting me in English. Yeah. And all of this happened after the New York event. Also, people from Creator Method.
Was that? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
People from Creator Method that didn't know me, like your people, started following me, and they're, like, posting these things in English. So it's great. And I think, like,
they're translating.
What?
They're translating when you say posting in English?
No. For example, the
talk that we did.
The videos of our talk.
Yeah.
They're quoting us and they're posting it in English.
Of course.
Girls who went to the event text me in English and they're like, I understand your videos because I have subtitles. Like, it's happening. It's already happening.
Well, I think you should do a mix right away. I think you should already be blending it into your existing social media.
Yeah.
I think you should, because I have to tell you that it was hard for me to get a read of your vibe and your personality because it's in Spanish and I don't speak Spanish.
But the vibe translates itself.
It does translate it, and I picked up a certain amount of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I felt like we had a great connection on stage in New York a few weeks ago, and now. So I'm telling you, your English is great. Like, if you're taking my advice, I'm telling you, you're ready to go hard and you're ready to really dive into creating in English. Like, I want to see it.
Maybe at the moment this podcast comes out, there's something. Like, there's already something going on.
Well, there's already this. You don't need proof. I'm letting you know.
No. What I'm saying is that maybe when this gets published, it's already happening.
I hope so.
Because I'm already, like, it's in the making.
I'm waiting. I follow you. I go to your profile every couple of days and I look at the recent ones and I'm like, I'm waiting for the English ones.
Yeah.
I just want to hear about my sign in English. That would be nice for me. Like that would be nice for me to get, the content about Aquarius. Is there anything I can help you with? Do you have any questions for me as somebody who is a colleague in the industry, with comparable experience? Is there anything I can help with? Is there something in your social media that you feel that, you and I did a one-on-one and we talked at length then, but is there anything off the top of your head? Like, is there anything on your mind now that you're like, something that you're thinking through?
When it comes, I will ask because I have no problem in asking, but just to share with your audience.
Well, Friday night, you're going to be at our house for dinner,
yes.
right? So
we had a one-on-one. It was very good because I was like, Gary, I want to work with brands maybe, but the thing is that most of my audience is in Latin America. So I used to have this like glass imaginary ceiling that for me to work with brands, all my audience had to be here. And he's like, girl, no. And I love when this happens because what happens when people listen to this podcast? They have these fears and doubts. Mm-hmm. I listened to the Kim Pearl last night and I'm like, another broken ceiling.
Kim and Valera, yeah.
Yeah, so every time you listen to this podcast, something expands in you. It might not touch everyone, but one of you is going to say, okay, that thing that Gary said or that thing that Mia said, that broke a glass ceiling for me. And I think that's very valuable because it's funny. Like when I was super young, I didn't have all these glass ceilings. The older you get, you start making like yourself some questions. And it's great to have people in conversations where you're just like, yeah, it was not true. Once that happened, because if you tell yourself you're not going to be able to do it, you won't do it.
Yeah.
And then you say, hey, I can do it. And then you start looking, like you see windows where you used to see just a wall. So maybe in that next step with brands, I'll be on to you. But now I don't have the fear, and now I don't have like that idea that it cannot be possible. And also, what I think? In my field, I look at other astrologers, none of them is doing like other type of content or working with brands directly. Not the ones that I've seen. So I hope that once these things like the changes are more visible, because we're doing a lot of changes right now, but it's all like,
well, they all add up.
When they start like showing themselves that it helps other people, maybe yoga teachers, astrologers, Reiki masters, to say, yeah, like it is possible to do all of this.
Absolutely.
So I hope it helps.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I agree with you. On a final note,
yes.
I have a question for you. To content creators who are considering going into this field or somebody who's already in it or they're not seeing scale, when it comes to, for someone who is scared to go all in right now, what do you want to tell them based on your extensive experience? This
is the thing. You give advice and people are going to leave their own experience. Sure. But if somebody asked me, because people always ask me, how do you do it? And I was like, I was delusional. I had no idea. I just jumped and it was going with the phases with social media coming up. But if you want to go like full on create, like as a creator, have another job in the meantime that you feel safe.
Yeah, financially.
Financially. There's this thing called the Fuck You Fund. Have you heard about it?
No.
It's like a thing that you have your money, so you feel safe because your nervous system has to feel safe to be very opened up.
Yeah.
Like it's when your kids are playing, even though they're playing, they can see you from like, they feel safe. But when they don't see you, they're like, that's the thing. If you have that security, you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna go for the to the event for fun, instead of going with this like it has to take a risk. I have to create results. I have to do this, because then it becomes like a machine work.
Yeah.
So having something, or for example, as Kim Pearl said, I was living with my boyfriend, so I was not worried about the rent, and I was just going into my computer 24/7. Like have something that gives you a little bit of certainty, security, stability, and then just go loose on creating, on the feeling of creating. Your best creations are gonna come that day that you're not controlling, that you don't care how it looks. Or for example, the best picture is that picture that someone took of you when you were not looking.
Yeah.
So you need to allow yourself that part of, I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but it's gonna happen, of course. Then get into like the business mindset. It has to have a meaning for you. You wanna like educate yourself on how to scale the business, because you're not gonna do the same for years.
Sure.
But even when you're very high up, like you are or Valeria is, have those moments where it's just for fun. Because people feel that it's authentic, you love it. And sometimes people follow you not for the content itself. People follow you because the passion. Everybody wants to feel passion. And they see you having fun and it's like, I just love that.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, for us, whenever we've had stressful times in the last like 8 to 10 years in the business, the data would dip, right? Because the audience feels it and they disengage. And the more Valeria and I can just be like, let's just relax and have fun. Let's just be natural. And there's a direct relationship with the level of happiness that we have as a family, because we're individuals, but we're a family. We really are. When our kids are happy and they're doing well and everything's great, then the content performs better. And all of a sudden it attracts, just energetically, it attracts, more audience. The personal brand grows, more monetization opportunities. And that's a real thing. And that's why I always tell creators, you have to take the time to go and do the things that you enjoy and that make you happy. And that's really important. Mia, on that note, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming. I'm looking forward to you and Diego coming over for dinner on Friday night. And we'll continue our conversation. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you, guys.